It's somewhat depressing and is basically the exact opposite of the original series.
Open the
but at the
register
same time,
right now.
it's crass.
Don't kill me.
Brutally violent. It's somewhat
I'll empty
depressing
the register
and
for
it's
you.
the
Don't do
exact
anything.
opposite of the
Stealing
original
from the
series.
hard-working good job.
Also, I was a teenage boy when this movie came out. I was this movie's exact demographic. So forgive me if I look back on this movie with nostalgic goggles so thick I look like Professor Farnsworth.
Valentine is
Doesn't
a
mean
shit
that Dark
town
of the
now.
Moon is some special gem only now appreciated with time. Is this video a defense against a sea of negativity?
Please get away from me now.
No, it's still not very good, and all the criticisms against it are still very valid.
Oh, the lasers shoot off into outer space.
Calm down now, we'll take care of it.
And then the next line is Optimus!
It's just I like dumb things sometimes. And I like dumb things about this movie. I don't know, how do I even segue into this? I'm nostalgic critic, but you don't have to. Fallen was not a good movie, and everyone kind of knew it. Bay chalked the whole thing up to the writer's strike, and then just went in for the third. Though, this was their track record since the second movie. I don't think it was just because of the writer's strike. Whether unionized labor is to blame or not, the one thing Bay took away from the entire experience was that constant jokes about sex and balls were not an ideal way of doing comedy. Those elements would not be patterning for the final movie in this trilogy. Speaking of which,
brace yourselves, the Transformers franchise just got a whole lot less sexy.
Megan Fox is gone. You'll never see her again until like 2022, where she's with Machine Gun Kelly for some reason.
But yes, we've been simulating a ritual for what the fuck?
She had a very public falling out with Michael Bay. Complained about Bay's attitude during the filming of Revenge of the Fallen. You know, constructive criticism in a very rational manner. Very subtle.
Like Himmeron has said, and he is. So he's a nightmare to work for.
I meant subtle in the old English vernacular, as in not very subtle at all. Because of these comments, she was let go for the next movie. Now, Bay went on to say that he actually had no problem with Megan Fox saying this, because the way that he says it is a little backhanded. Like, oh yeah, I knew it was Megan just being Megan, you know, being a brat. Bay says that while he didn't care too much about the comment, Steven Spielberg, on the other hand, cared immensely. He demanded she immediately be fired. It's funny to think Spielberg was ever associated with these movies, isn't it? So was Bay really complimented Spielberg was? Or did Bay just pass the blame to the big producer so he wouldn't look like a little bitch? Who can say? I wasn't there. Whatever reason, Megan Fox was out and was replaced with a Victoria's Secret model. Make of that what you will. So Michaela as a character is now just gone. So how much of a problem can that be for the finale of this trilogy? Not shockingly, it's quite shocking, because by the time Megan Fox was fired, the script was already finished. Lines, character motivations, everything, the whole thing was done. And the way they decided to patch over this little issue of the main love interest being gone was to just cross her name out and replace it with Carly. Carly, the new love interest, isn't simply a cheap replacement of Michaela. She is Michaela. She says the lines that Michaela was supposed to say. Carly, what you see is a top-of-the-line classic car collection, which is something that seems pretty random for some British girl that Sam met at the White House. But you know who it's not random for? Michaela, a girl who spent her entire life working on cars and being a mechanic. What major point Sam, the college-educated guy who was kind of handed everything in his life, was now struggling once he actually had to find a job?
From Obama? In this office, we're mostly Republicans.
So, on the other hand, his working-class girlfriend ended up getting her dream job from hard work, and now Michaela is supporting her and Sam while he's inadequate and everything.
No, I didn't work for lunch. I have money from yesterday's lunch.
Then suddenly, here comes Patrick Swayze. This is kind of a warm relationship, and now there's a to Sam. Then after the entire movie happens and Patrick Swayze is punched in the face, Bumblebee drops the ring and shows that Sam and Michaela are now going to get married. Yeah, we didn't get that. Despite spending the entire last movie building up to just Sam admitting that he loves her, the series' whole couple just breaks up off screen. Everything just feels so strange now. It's like if in Return of the Jedi, once Han came back, he randomly started to hook up with that blue chick, and Leia was just cast off into space. So this movie is... There really seems to be an unspoken rule of fiction that as long as you're violent against robots, you can just get away with anything. Rip them in half, put the brains down, have them fucking disintegrate. Hell, we just have straight up blood now. Anybody remember when these robots were supposed to be full of energon? That blue stuff? Nah, it's just blood now. Because of that, this is probably the most violent PG-13 movie I can think of. The whole Transformers war has always been hinted at. In the 80s series, the war was nothing but idiots slapping each other around and then coming back the next week. The animated movie, while having so much depth, not gonna lie, still have that aesthetic of genuine Transformers that mask the idea of the Transformers 1 has war, but it's like calling Call of Duty war. The finale is action fighting. Our cool military dudes go on motorcycles to save people. The mounted Doom machine goes on a rampage. Transformers 2 into this as well. But Transformers 3, war in Transformers 3 is, and it doesn't really matter that the conflict is between robots that can turn into cars, or that the city just happens to be Chicago. This still feels devastating. This would be traumatic in real life. Holy hell. In the original series, the Decepticons wanted to harvest Earth's energy, send it back to Cybertron, you know, that whole thing. They were criminals. Chicago is an occupied nation. You couldn't have fascist... Oh, I'm sorry. Decepticon collaborators.
It's all business, but now it's personal. Do you understand me?
They just fucking execute prisoners. Started as self-casting voice. That brings me to another point. The design of the robots themselves. The Decepticons. Started this blooded design that movies never got away from. Decepticons in the last two movies have been a bunch of polygons that are all the same color, gray and black. Now by the third movie, they just stop even looking humanoid. They're just entirely different species. Eyes, facial teeth, these idiots were supposed to be but now they're just animals. Psychotic, snarling animals. But I can't really complain about that because Decepticons at the end of the day still look cool. They actually have a far better fate than our poor friends the Autobots. Because the problem with the Autobots is that they look so damn ugly now. They look way too human. Jesus Christ, I didn't want to see a 50-foot tall Albert Einstein. I didn't need to see his head roll off of his body. It's been like 12 minutes. I should probably get into this. Remember when the Transformers bombed Iran? I didn't, so I love that the feds are just like, we didn't tell them to do that. They went rogue. These giant alien robots. They just really cared about Iran's nuclear deal. After like 3 movies, you could really tell that there was a formula these films were following. There's a technology lost to time that must be recovered. One powerful leader of the faction was resurrected, and as usual, it turns out that Transformers and humans have crossed paths before. You see, the moon landing was a conspiracy, but not that type of conspiracy with the sound stages and the Kubricks. No, the moon landing was real. It just had an Autobot ship of all time, and it had the key to winning the entire war before it was lost to space. Damn, it really be like that. I guess the Autobots were all on the losing side of the Cybertron war, but I'm pretty sure they could have afforded to use a few more fighters, right? After the ship slats down on the moon, NASA is alerted and brings the news straight away to JFK. Now, I love the Apollo missions. Hell, I'm probably the only person that remembers that Neil Armstrong movie starring Ryan Gosling. So don't take this as a slight against NASA or space travel, but the first 10 minutes of this movie is an unapologetic circle jerk of the Apollo 11 mission. Dark of the Moon just forgets that Transformers exist for a full 4 minutes. Fun fact, NASA let Michael Bay film a lot of stuff on location. Like a lot of stuff. I know there's criticism of these movies glorifying the military-industrial complex, but what about glorifying the space-industrial complex? Big shuttle. This film really is a NASA movie, though, and you can tell somebody on this production just really wanted to have a movie involving the space program. The Autobots don't even have their own spaceship. They just tacked it onto a space shuttle. There you go. That's your Autobot ship. I need to get that correct. Sam, he's still in these movies. For now. I'm gonna skip over everything Sam does in this movie. He can't find a job. He finds a job. The boss is John Malkovich. Ken Jeong is there. And he says things. He's blown out a window. Dark of the Moon has two plots going on. One is about unraveling this mystery, I guess you could call it that, about why the Decepticons are working with humans. Then the other half is after that mystery is revealed and the good part of the movie begins. So I guess let's start off with the conspiracy part. Dark of the Moon's human plot is all about uncovering this grand conspiracy. The gang goes to Chernobyl. They uncover this wacky ball. And they fight over it with a new Decepticon, one we haven't seen before. I like that Optimus by now has his trailer and it also transforms, so he gets his little sword and shield from it wherever he goes.
Girl.
What was it?
That is Shockwave.
One issue taking these fan favorite characters from Gen 1 and turning them into edgy monsters is that when you use the same original names, it's kind of hilarious. It's like if the Balrog was called Wingmaster. Yeah, so anyway, the gang goes to Chernobyl to find this ball, one that's from a Transformer alien ship, and the Autobots are wondering why the Russians had a piece of this tech and why the Decepticons wanted it. And conveniently, because I assume the feds knew Optimus was gonna ask some questions, they just bring out Buzz Aldrin.
Space traveler, it's a true honor.
The honor is mine.
This is just so corny. I love it. Imagine if you're one of the first men to ever be on the moon, and then decades later you have to pretend that your greatest accomplishment in life was a part of some grand conspiracy involving toy robots from the 1980s. Buzz and his friends explained that they went and explored the ship, just like the start of the movie showed. Optimus tells everyone that the ship had tech that could have won the war, which the start of the movie also showed. One thing they haven't showed is how did the Russians get the engine part in the first place? The answer to that is nothing.
Soviets managed to land unmanned probes. Somehow they must have picked up that fuel rock.
They just hand wave it away.
Somehow they must have picked up that fuel rock.
Yeah, they don't even know.
Yep.
Get out! Everybody get out! The entire catalyst of this film has no explanation for how the Russians even got it in the first place. The Autobots fly to the moon and retrieve Sentinel Prime. After a little incident at the office, Sam reunites with Simmons to uncover what is really going on.
Buy my book. Buy my book before it's too late, people.
Halfway through this investigation, the revelation is suddenly made that the Decepticons have like 1,000 pillars. They thought there were 5, it's actually like 1,000. They actually let the Autobots find Sentinel, because only Optimus could revive